Essentially, we're going to be going over all of the augments, perks, and items. There's quite a bit, so we'll get right into it here. So first we'll start with augments. We have agility, aiming, ammo, close range, crit chance, weak point, and hip fire. A total of 7 augments that are available in this game. And let's move on to perks here. We'll start with the robots, the bot companion. Something I want to mention is, in order for you to unlock these secondary perks, as you can see listed in there, you need to get the primary perk first. So you would first need to have the bot companion primary perk, and then secondary perks will follow along with that. Bots are pretty useful. They used to be kind of broken, like they wouldn't spawn in the boss room. They're not the strongest thing in the world, especially when you go to nightmare difficulty. During co-op, sometimes they wouldn't even spawn at all, but that has been fixed, so that's good. Bot companion's also really good if you are sniping. Anyways, moving along here, we're going to go over some weapon damage, utility, and defense perks. So we got Berserk, Battle Rush, Combat Reflexes, Resonate, Wrath, Sentinel Strike, Dead Shot, Piercing Shot, Quick Scope, Ranger's Focus, Shatter Point, then Locked and Loaded, one of my favorites, Mag Link, Harmonic Striker, oddly enough, is in there, Empowered Synergy, Ascending Swap. I want to take a second and just explain this a little bit further. So when you select a primary perk, for example, we got Berserk on the screen. We have 4 secondary perks linked to that. So you will only see these secondary perks if you select Berserk. This is just one example, but we will I'll show you more here. So just like Berserk, we also have all these 4 secondaries linked to Deadshot. And then for Locked and Loaded, we have all these secondaries linked to that. And that's essentially how perks work in primary perks. Again, you won't see any of the secondaries come up if you have not selected the corresponding primary perk. This is also the same case for elemental perks. Moving along here, we're going to go over some grenade perks. So again, we got to get Grenade Cascade as a primary, and then we'll access to Blast Amp, Double Detonation, Exposing Explosion, and Overcharge. Grenades are pretty good. I find myself never really taking the primary perk, but I have a buddy that I play with quite often, and I've seen what it can actually really do. So grenades can be really strong, and currently I feel like the Void element really benefits that. So you have to do some testing your own. Now we're going on to health perks. So we got Vitalizer as the primary. Then we go to Orbital Infusion, Empowered Overload, Critical Bastion, Blood Chemist. Now we'll just dive right into shields. Shield Optimizer is the primary. Reactive Reflection, Power Routing, Overcharge Driver, Emergency Overclock. Then we're going to elemental perks. Burning Heart, Inferno, Kindling, Searing Exposure, and Wildfire. For the next element, we got Icy Veins as the primary, Ice Pick, Frostbite, Cold Snap, Blizzard. And then we're going to Void here, so Night Eyes primary, Inner Abyss, Gloom Strike, Doombinder, and Dark Envoy. And then lastly, you got Lightning, so Thunder Soul primary, Static Pulse, Spark Bane, Shockwave, and Conductive. So out of all of the elements, I think Lightning and Ice are probably the strongest based off of what I've seen and used. I think Void would probably be runner-up for 3rd place. But you can see here, like, when you have a lightning crit build, especially using the Hellfire here, you really just start melting stuff. Like these are all crits, every single last one. And it's a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. This run, unfortunately, ends with me dying in the boss room, because I'm bad at the game. But we can see here how much damage you can really just pump out with a lightning crit build. You don't have to use the Hellfire, but I mean it's the biggest magazine and really high fire rate, so it's perfect for crit builds. But as you can see here, get blasted with the laser just like that, and I actually do jump here, but I still die. So that was a very unfortunate right there. I want to talk just like a little bit more about the fire element. Now, it's not that it's like the worst thing ever. It's just compared to the other elements in the game, it's not as, I don't think, as strong. I think the fire element has a lot of good things going for it, but it just needs to do more damage. Like, the fire damage over time is very weak, and I think they could bump that up, and fire could easily be probably say top tier, up there with lightning and ice. Alrighty, last but not least, we're going to talk about items. There is a total of 80 items in the game that you can find. They are very important, and they really do make and break your build. Sometimes not getting a certain item can totally mess things up. There are quite, I would say about like half of them are actually really useful. Some of them are niche, they're very situational. After we're done listing all these out, I am going to kind of make a tier list a little bit, or somewhat. I don't think I'm going to include every single item, but I'm going to definitely include some of my top picks. Because there are some that are like, you can have it in any build, and it will work, and it will be really effective. Something I should have mentioned in the beginning of this video is what patch we're on. This patch that this video is related to was the one that was done in March 26th this year. It was the patch where they broke up the story into 3 different missions, and they had all like the new missions, like long run, pinpoint, bugged, and close up. It was pretty exciting to see all those new things. And again, with that, they added the health perk, shield perks, changed some of the melee stuff, added a few items. Yeah, that's pretty important, because this video is definitely, or this game's subject to change. I mean, it's still demo, so still a lot more to come. The game's not even full release, but very excited for it to be. I've been having a blast. Alright, for the last little bit of these items being displayed here, I'm just going to let the music play and let you guys look at all those. We got one more thing we got to go over that we forgot and we missed. So stay tuned. Alright, we're coming to the end here. Something we totally forgot, which is appropriate, is melee perks. So we got Ghost Blade, Backstab, Hammer the Gap, Honed Edge, and War Stride. So melee's pretty useless in this game, especially in Nightmare difficulty. There's no way you're going to survive being that close with all those enemies. They start doing way too much damage for you to be that close. I mean, unless you have a shotgun build. But yeah, Ghost Blade melee in general just needs some work. I think it would be really fun to do a melee build, but it needs some adjusting. Alright, finally here, this is the last part of the video. I'm going over all the, in my opinion, best items, and pretty much every single one of these are versatile. You can use them in any single build with any weapon. There are some exceptions, and those would be the AI chipset, Inhaler, what was the other one? Front load and plastic wand. So those 4 are really the only things that are going to be situational. Like those 4 that I mentioned, one, the plastic wand is obviously only going to be good for if you're building crit. And then the other 3 are for the sniping, like sniper rifles, and then the Overlord, and then Revenant as well. Revenant's really good with that. But other than that, you can use any single one of these. Really good. Something I want to talk about here are the charms. For instance, large bayonet, compact bayonet, pistol charm, and rifle charm. These 4 items are pretty much a game changer. The fact that you can apply multiple elemental debuffs and effects through a single weapon is it really, like I said, is a big game changer and is a huge power spike. And also, it kind of gives you another shot at getting that elemental damage that you want. Like, you know, say you chose thunder, but your primary has fire, but if you have large bayonet, now you can apply a lightning bolt or static pulse. I forget what that's called. It's like an AoE on the lightning weapon. But anyways, stacking elements on one target with one weapon is extremely effective in this game. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys learned something, and thank you for staying if you stayed this long. Hope you guys have a good one. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you later.